Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 2, 2024. Government is assessing options to ensure fiscal operations for the 2024-2025 fiscal year remain prudent and legislated targets can still be met in response to lower than expected revenues for March and its impact on total outturns for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. New data released from the Ministry of Finance reveals that while total revenues for March were 2.3% higher than the same month of the previous year, it was $29.3 billion or 18% less than budgeted. Tax revenues for the month was also more than the same period last year, but still less than budgeted. This has resulted in tax revenues for the 2023-2024 fiscal year, which ended on March 31, being $24.8 billion less than projected, even though it's $78 billion ahead of the prior fiscal year. Similarly, total GOJ revenues for 2023-2024 were $97.5 billion, or 11.8% ahead of the prior fiscal year, though less than budgeted by $22.4 billion. The Finance Ministry says this underperformance of revenue has implications for the programmed revenue estimates for this fiscal year. The ministry says preliminary analysis indicates that the main contributor to the shortfall was corporate income tax, which was $14.3 billion lower than programmed for the fiscal year. Reportedly, several entities or individuals who filed did not make the indicated tax payments within the required timeline. The government will be pursuing payment related to these returns via its comprehensive compliance systems. In addition, Tax Administration Jamaica is closely examining the impact of changes to the International Financial Reporting Standards, which resulted in lower taxes being declared by a number of financial institutions. There have been some changes to the recently implemented Tourism Workers' Pension Scheme to include older contributors. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett gave the update in his sectoral presentation in Parliament Tuesday.
We have a component of this for what we call the augmented contributor. And that contributor is somebody who is 59 years old when he's joined the scheme. Only have 6 years of contribution. But at the end of that 6 years, he gets a pension as though he was contributing from his age 80.
He says this has been made possible by tourism workers' contributions and the $1 billion put into the fund by the government.
I'm proud to let you know that 9,447 persons have registered so far, and they have saved in the process $1.2 billion. When added to the $1 billion that we put and the interest that has accrued as a result of good management, we are now $3 billion in the fund.
Workers who contribute more than 30% of their labor to tourism are qualified to be a member of the scheme. Approximately 300,000 to 500,000 employees are set to benefit. Jamaica has received a donation of $3 million from the non-profit humanitarian group Direct Relief, which will be channeled through the National Health Fund, NHF, to strengthen the public health system. The funds were formally handed over on Tuesday at the NHF facility in St. Andrew. Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, Juliet Holness, said she was delighted to assist in making the donation reach the health system.
We will be showing the rest of the Caribbean and indeed the world what we have been able to do with your generous donation towards improving our solar energy delivery, and particularly for how it actually helps health facilities.
Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the support has immense reach for the population and more companies need to recognize and appreciate how they can impact development from contributions to a healthy society.
We need to do more around give back for the preservation of our people and the preservation of the cycle that we have to exist in our environment. And so I hope that the example of a direct relief is one that is bigger than the $3 million that is being contributed. but is an example for all of us to follow.
The Restorative Justice branch in the Ministry of Justice is making strides in its work to divert children away from the criminal justice system. Director of the Restorative Justice branch, Jonah Lee Robertson, reveals that less than 300 RJ case conferences involving children were held up to the end of the 2023-2024 fiscal year. She says the low number of child-related cases demonstrates the effectiveness of the work being undertaken by the Social Justice Division, which also includes the Child Diversion and Victim Services branches.
And so, whereas we would have done altogether over 2,300 case conferences, less than 300 of those involve children. And I think that is good because restorative justice is reactive. It is when the harm has already been done in that aspect. And so having so little conferences involving children indicates that our children, for the most part, there are working successful measures to prevent them from interacting with the formal justice system and reaching to the point where an actual charge has been laid against them.
Ms. Robertson was addressing a recent JIS think tank session. She says proactive measures such as the Restorative Practices Training Program that is being introduced in schools across the country have also contributed to the reduction in child-related cases and the number of children with criminal records. A memorandum of understanding was signed between the Ministries of Justice and Education in February for the continuation of the program. Chief of Defense Staff, Rear Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman, is among 4 senior staff who have been promoted to higher ranks in the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF. They were approved by the Defense Board and will take effect on May 10, 2024. Rear Admiral Weems Gorman has been appointed to Vice Admiral, Lieutenant General, while Colonel Mahatma Williams, Colonel O'Neill Bogle, and Colonel Elon Clark have been promoted to the rank of Brigadier. The Office of the Prime Minister, in a release, says Rear Admiral Weems Gorman has provided steady leadership of the force, reflecting the trust and high morale of the soldiers. The OPM adds that she has kept the JDF on track with its 2017 to 2037 strategic plan, as outlined in the Strategic Defense Review. Colonel Williams, whose career spans 31 years, Colonel Bogle, 24 years, and Colonel Clark, 22 years, have all served at various command levels and are being commended for continuing to be assets to the JDF. And finally, the Ministry of Sport is increasing the cash prizes for the winners from the regional champs and grand finals in the Institute of Sports in Sports All-Ireland Primary Schools Athletics Championships. Minister Olivia Grange says the aim is to encourage youngsters to put their hearts into representing their schools, communities, and indeed Jamaica.
The prize money for the first place champion will be $350,000. And we will up the numbers by $100,000 each for the other categories. Hear, hear. I noticed where the schools that place 4th to 10th will collect $75,000 each, but you're now going to be given $100,000 each for placing. And of course, the newly crowned national champions will collect $600,000 instead of $500,000, with $350,000 going to the second place and $300,000 for the third place.
The 42nd staging of the InSports All-Ireland Primary Schools Athletics Championships began with the Eastern Championships taking place from May 1 to 3 at Stadium East. Minister Grange also thanked Devon Biscuits for its sponsorship of $7 million. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.